A Search in Vedic India, Chapter 21, Blessings. While resting after lunch, Vimala was thinking of Albert's clarity on many issues. It appears that his understanding of many confusing issues was so clear that she wondered whether recognition of the self worked wonders in the case of Albert, unfolding so much clarity on all matters. It was obvious that such clarity would not arise from books or lectures. In the evening, they sat in the dunes of the Godavari river behind the Shiva temple. Tell me how a man who recognized Swarupam would live in the world. What changes take place? Asked Vimala. Good question. With the recognition, without your knowledge, a sense of freedom emerges. All questions about the individual, the world, and the so called God are answered. There would be nothing to be known, nor anything to be achieved. Normally, everybody has a subconscious fear because of the uncertainty in the worldly matters. The most important fear is the fear of death. One would be free from the fear of death after recognition. For him, death is nothing but a thought. You may question whether such a person feels sorrow at the loss of a close one. Please note that a realized person is not a stone. He may also feel sorry for the loss, but only briefly. He would come out of that very quickly compared to normal people. He knows that even sorrow is a thought. The same is the case with anger. He carries on all the worldly transactions, and since he knows that there is no individual, he accepts whatever is the outcome of his actions. He would be free from the hold of the world, and on the other hand, the world would be within his hold. He would not pray, worship, or believe in any world beyond or even in a notion that God is present somewhere. Thoughts of the past and future do not bother him. If anybody could be like that on his own, he need not pursue Advaita. But those absorbed in Advaita would be sure to reach that stage, was the experience of many. Even Bhagavad Gita described the characteristics of such a person. That is very encouraging to listen to. Tell me any interesting points that you have noted down from the scriptures, asked Vimala. I will tell you some that come to my mind. If you could set aside the body and sit with rest, even at this moment, you could be free from all relationships and live happily. That means you recognize that your awareness is never attached to the body. You have to feel that separation intuitively. You have no religion or duties. You are invisible, unattached, formless. You are the witness of all things. Right and wrong, pleasure and pain exist only in mind. They are not your concern. You neither suffer nor enjoy. One who believes that he is free would be free, and one who thinks that he is bound would always be bound. If you recognize that you are not the body, believe it 100% and always remember it. Whoever thinks of anything incessantly, he becomes that. Ignorant people are in the habit of believing that they are limited to the body. The seeker has to overcome this habit by countering with the thoughts and feeling that his awareness is not confined to the body. If one is seriously engaged in worldly activities, one is drifted into them, forgetting this truth. Even while doing worldly activities, if you could remember this, it would accelerate your journey to freedom. To recognize that you are not bound to the body, no actions like preventing thoughts or achieving samadhi is required. Just recognize that your awareness is not bound to the body and experience it. No action is required for that. That which has a form is not real. Only the formless is permanent. Once this is known, you will not return to illusion. Could you elaborate on this statement? How can you say that the form is not real? Asked Vimala. Except for your awareness, all other objects have a form. Just as we are trying to recognize our Swarupam, every object could be traced to its Swarupam. You are seeing that boat there. What could be its Swarupam? Asked Albert. Wood, replied Vimala. What is the Swarupam of wood? Queried Albert. It must be tree, said Vimala. If you trace back like that, you should go back to earth, water, fire, gas, and space. The order of evolution of the five elements is first space, then air, fire, water, and lastly the earth. Have you followed? Okay, then space is the Swarupam of the boat? Asked Vimala. No, space is inert. Insentient cannot be the cause of another insentient. There must be an intelligent cause behind it. Where is space? It is in awareness. When you are aware of space, the whole space is in your awareness. Space cannot have an existence independent of awareness. So, Swarupam of every object must be awareness only. Just like you said that wood is the substance of the boat, the substance of all objects is only awareness. It is the dynamic aspect of awareness that is the cause of the appearance of all forms without itself undergoing any change. Just like if you remove wood from the boat, there is no boat. If you remove awareness from any object in the world, that object would not exist. If you overset the mirror, there are no reflections. The substratum of everything you perceive is awareness, explained Albert. It is like there is no moon if awareness does not witness it. Okay, please continue with your observations, said Vimala. Just as a mirror exists both within and outside of the image reflected, the Supreme Self exists both within and without the body. Just as the same space exists both within and without a jar, the timeless, all-pervasive One exists as totality. As waves, foam and bubbles are not different from water, so the universe emanating from awareness is not different from awareness. Look closely at the cloth, you see only threads. Look closely at creation, you see only awareness. The universe appears within me, but I do not touch it. This is the closest expression of my state. Just as a bubble rising in the sea is water, all the objects of the world appear as rising from awareness only. Anything happening in the world does not affect my equanimity, for I know that there is no single cause for any effect in the relative world. The light in which you see your body and the whole world is nothing but that light. This light is not physical. If you are aware of your existence, even in thick darkness, it is because of that light only. Self-realization is nothing but the recognition of the infinite nature of your awareness. An objective view of awareness in any form is impossible as it is infinite. I accept any result of my action with equanimity. I do not think of any good deeds done or not done. We have long been bound thinking I am a person. The knowledge I am awareness alone is the sword that frees us. In reality, knowledge, the knower, and the knowable do not exist. I am the transparent awareness in which, through ignorance, they appear. Could you elaborate that? I am seeing that boat. I am the knower, the boat is known, and I know the presence of the boat. You say all three are nothing but awareness, asked Vimala. Simple. What is your dream? It's a thought. From your awareness, a dream Vimala is arising, viewing a dream object. You know that all the three are nothing but your awareness. On the screen of infinite awareness, Vimala the subject, the boat the object, and viewing the boat are nothing but a thought. So long as you think you are a limited Vimala and not the witnessing the screen of awareness, all the three appear to be real. When you recognize your Swarupam, that is, When you recognize that your awareness is not limited to the body of Vimala, then you wake up to reality. One who recognizes Swarupam, though he plays the game of life, differs greatly from other ignorant people of the world. He lives life as it comes. One who knows for certain that adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny lives contented life. He neither desires nor grieves. I am not the body, nor is the body my possession. I am awareness itself. One who realizes this for certain has no memory of things done or left undone. There is only the absolute. All the above statements are based on direct understanding. Confirmation could be found in scriptures like Ashtavakra Gita. Albert continued, have you noticed that the acceptance theory is based on devotion to a higher power? We accept whatever is the result of our actions as the dispensation of an invisible power of God. There is a belief that there is a higher power and that there is no individual doer. In Advaita, there is no belief involved. You investigate and recognize that awareness is not confined to the body. You also recognize that thoughts that prompt us to actions in the world are nothing but the dynamic aspect of awareness. Thoughts which project the world of forms are nothing but awareness. They are only shadows on the screen of awareness, but not real. Since your Swarupam is infinite consciousness, you recognize that there is no question of birth and death for that infinite awareness. So, whether a seeker remains devoted to a personal God or seeks the truth through an inquiry into awareness is not in his hands, said Vimala. Yes, you are correct, confirmed Albert. On the day of their journey, they went into the town and purchased clothes. Then they met Swami to take leave. They felicitated Swami, Sumati Garu and Krishnaya Garu with clothes in the Indian tradition. Suddenly Albert prostrated on the floor and touched the feet of Swami respectfully. Though Vimala was surprised at that action, she quickly recovered and she also did the same. You are one of the few who accomplished the mission among all those who visited this place, said Swami, expressing his happiness in words. While returning to the guest house, Vimala said, why did you suddenly prostrate to Swami? I was surprised. No, it just happened impulsively. There was no plan to do that in advance, said Albert with a smile. They started that afternoon and reached Bangalore by night. The very next day, they went into the interview room and waited for Prem Sarup on the suggestion of Kalyan Dev. Swami called them after other visitors left. Have you received answers to all your questions? Swami asked Vimala. Yes, Swami, but only intellectually. I am still waiting for the direct understanding, said Vimala. Have you gotten answers to your questions on death? Swami asked Albert. It was you, Swami, who said that without knowing about birth, how could I know about death? So you recognize that both are not there, said Swami smiling. Albert kept quiet and simply performed namaskaram in Indian style to Swami. You wanted to know where your dad had gone. You have your dad's letter with you. Take it out and read, said Swami smiling. Albert opened his cell phone and started reading his dad's letter. Towards the end, he wrote something saying that it was important. Can you read starting from that sentence? Asked Swami. Albert read that part aloud. Lastly, one important thing. While I was lying in the hospital bed, I knew one thing for certain. I will never be away from you. Remember this. That does not mean that I would be with you as a ghost or such. Though I do not know how it would be possible, I have a feeling that you and I are never separate. Since I have that feeling in the hospital bed when I was facing death, I am sure it must be true. Albert finished reading. Have you understood? What you recognized in your investigation, your father recognized by divine grace, said Swami. Albert could not speak, and Vimala noticed tears in his eyes. Tomorrow Kalyan Dev will give you an assignment. You look into it, Swami told Vimala. Tomorrow you come here, Swami told Albert, going into inner chambers. The next day, Kalyan Dev entrusted some publication work to Vimala. She went there. Albert went alone to Swami's interview room. As usual, after other visitors went out, Swami called Albert. Kalyan Dev told me that you had encouraged Vimala to take up studies in the US. Before you go back to the US, advise her on those matters. Financial matters would be sorted out by Kalyan Dev. You help her in the studies there, said Swami. No, Swami, I will take care of her financial requirements also. I have already decided on the matter, said Albert respectfully. I do not want to mention the way forward after studies. If at any time Vimala expresses her intention to spend her life with you, do not refuse. Excellent flowers are hidden in distant bloods, said Swami with augustly. Albert said, Yes, Swami, and did a Padanamaskar and returned to the guest house. In the next 2 days, Albert got his ticket confirmed and advised Vimala on the GRE. He said he would advise later on the list of universities to be applied for after the GRE result. On the day of departure, he paid respects to Kalyan Dev and boarded the taxi to the airport. Though Vimala said that she would come to the airport to see him off, Albert did not agree as she had to return alone. Just before the taxi was about to start, Vimala gave a folder containing her pencil sketches to Albert and asked him to have a look on the way to the airport. While the taxi was running, Albert had a look at all the sketches and wondered at the skill of Vimala in drawing pencil sketches. He could identify very clearly himself, Swami, Krishnaya Garu, Sumati Garu in all the sketches. He sent congratulations through the mail from the taxi itself. Steffi came to San Francisco airport. He briefed her about the details of the India visit. After settling down, he met Father Francis and apprised him of all that had happened. Father was very happy that Albert could recognize the truth and found answers to all his questions that have been bothering him for many years. After resuming duties in the company, he became very busy with a new project. He was talking to Vimala almost daily on the phone. Few months passed very quickly, and in the meanwhile, Vimala wrote the GRE and secured a good score. On the advice of Albert, she applied to some universities and received admission to California State University. After a couple of months, she also got her visa. One day, Albert returned home from the office and collected post from the mailbox as usual. He set aside bank statements and utility bills and opened the envelope in green color from India. While opening, his heart skipped a beat as he knew it was from Vimala. Inside the envelope, he found a pencil drawing. Lord Vishnu was reclining on the coiled snake similar to the picture he had seen in Krishnananda Mutt. The face had Albert's features. In the picture at the Mutt, Lakshmi, the consort, was sitting at the feet of the Lord. But in the pencil drawing, only a small picture of Goddess Lakshmi with the features of Vimala was penciled on the chest to the left of Vishnu. On closer observation, he noticed the words Chit on Vishnu and Sat on Lakshmi. At the bottom of the drawing, he found a line with the words, Could anybody separate Sat and Chit? He felt very happy after seeing the drawing. Prem Swarup was mentioning about such an indication only from Vimala. Booking tickets to India, visiting India, celebrating the marriage before Prem Swarup and Kalyan Dev in a simple ceremony, visiting Kaleshwaram and taking the blessings of Swami and Sumati Garu and returning with Vimala to the US all happened one after another in a matter of a few days.